because it's a US dollar. Has it right? Okay, he says that we always start off with DXY because it's the US dollar sentiment. It's the strength of the US dollar, which is, I say this every time, it makes up for 80% of all trade in the forex market. So it's definitely something to be looking at, right? Because if the dollar is strong, usually all USD pairs will be relatively strong or weak if it's depreciating. So here we are on the 4-hour for DXY. It's been very, very bullish for the most part, especially on higher time frames. We can bump up to the daily here just to get an idea. It's been holding a steady bullish trend for quite a while now. We did see this bit of news happen from dollar shortage. So the dollar was inflated because everyone was trying to hold the dollar. It was in super demand, right? So that's why it shot up. But again, it was very overvalued. No one wants the dollar that strong. It's supposed to be a super stable currency. It is considered the reserve currency for the world. So if it's making these crazy moves like that, like what is this appreciation? It appreciated by 8%. If it's making moves like that, that's not good, right? Everyone in the world wants the dollar to be extremely stable, especially being, again, the reserve currency. So let's drop down to the 4-hour, get a little closer to current price action and see where we're at. So again, two potential scenarios from the current level. 101, right here, this blue zone is our major zone that we're at, right? It's a major resistance. We've seen rejection before, right? We've seen it test the support, broke, tested resistance, and now we're kind of ranging between 98.5 and 101. So from this level, we want to see two potential scenarios. Either price action falls out. This does look like kind of a weakening trend. It is bullish still, but it is weakening. It's not the strongest bullish trend we've seen. So I would love to see a break of this structure level, break of support right here, right around 100, what is this? 100.250 or 125.25. So I want to see a break of that, a retest, and then a confirmed lower high. That would be so textbook. It's a clean transition, and it would say to me, hey, the dollar is going to continue ranging in this area, and we're going to look to target lower towards our weekly and potentially down to this 98.5 once again. So this is very likely. I am personally favoring the drop of DXY right now, again, because this is weak and it's also ranging. And this, if it did fall, it would be, it wouldn't be a bad thing if it did fall into this region here towards this 200 EMA and potentially lower. Again, it wouldn't be a bad thing. But the flip side, let's say we get some super positive news or some super negative news from other economies, again, where it starts, putting the dollar into demand again. And then we would see that this would pop up out of this 101 area. And then we would just look for a higher low, retest, confirmed higher low, and then we could target higher back up towards, this monthly area. But again, this is not the preferred move. No one wants this move. This is actually, the closer it gets to 103, the more damaging it is for other currencies. So you just have to keep that in mind. Now we're using fundamental tactics here because this is the dollar index. We're talking about the strength of the US dollar. So if it does get too strong, bad for other currencies, right? If it stays stable, this is good for other currencies. So that's kind of what we want to see. We want to see this preferred move to the downside, or more so just consolidation within this range. We don't want this push to happen. Although, lately news has been crazy. So we'll see what happens. But this is that 4-hour analysis. Again, as I just covered, I posted it in here. You guys can check it out. I actually just clicked it, this one here, and you guys can review it. And there's also a description on TradingView that you guys can get into. So that's DXY, right? We always start off with that. So let's move on to AUD USD. This one's looking pretty interesting. We're at a key zone, but let's go ahead and bump up timeframes and get you guys familiar with the overall trend. Very, very bearish. You can see how clearly bearish this is. Look at this volume. It's actually unbelievable. Just falling off a cliff. Very, very bearish on all significant time frames, right? So we're going to start to zone in on current price action. Where is price action going to go now? We know that the higher time frames are bearish. We can see that this 4-hour is bullish, right? It's actually a pretty healthy 4-hour bullish trend, right? So it's good volume, breaks of resistance, testing as support, push higher, testing as breaking resistance, testing as support. The MAs, we had a cross of the 200 MAs. So this is a very healthy bullish trend on the 4-hour. So we do see this triangle forming, right? It's a descending triangle, but we did see it pop out. It broke out to the upside, and we did see a lower time frame transition happen. So, excuse me, this structure level here, this level right here around 63,500 was broken, right? Broken resistance, tested as support, and then it was also an MA cross that came into play and actually acted as another level of support for this push higher. So I do think that it's going to continue higher. This 4-hour trend is not showing any weakness in my opinion. Just based on what I'm analyzing here, it's looking very bullish. It's not looking like the bears are going to take control anytime soon. So we're going to look to play up to this 65.065 area, right, which is also near a weekly resistance. And we're just looking for these strong confirmations. I would love a retest, nice little double bottom off this structure level, followed by a nice bullish engulfing, something like that. Just confirmations in general would be enough to then, get a high probability setup. This would be more of an intraday trade. I want to show you guys what this would look like if we had marked it up. Let's say we get a little pullback, comes back, gives us that setup, and then we're going to use our stop loss just outside the support level. So this is going to be a pretty good, a high probability trade. 100 over 150 pips. We're close to like 171 here. It's going to be a good potential trade with a good risk reward. You're not really risking that many pips. 50 pips. So this will be a pretty good trade if we do get that execution. So this is definitely the favor here. We want to see this bullish movement continue. But if price action does fail, I'm not looking for bearish setups. I'm not looking to enter on a bearish trade until I see a break of support, test his resistance, we get it confirmed, lower high, and then those confirmations would be enough to then short down to this 0.6200 area. But again, the favor is definitely the bullish setup here. It's definitely looking like it's going to play out. So this is AUD USD, and that's a lot of pips for AU. Usually this is one of the slower moving pairs. We usually recommend this for beginners. I know some people were asking about which pairs should they look at. AUD is definitely one of them. It usually forms good structure. It usually moves slower than other pairs. But yeah, this is pretty good. 170 pips for AU, not bad at all. And again, this is a 4-hour analysis, and it's looking pretty good. And again, we posted this here, right? AUD USD. Here it is. You can click the chart. It'll take you straight to TradingView, and there's another description there, basically just covering what I just summarized here. So yeah, that's AU. Let's keep moving. This computer's struggling, man. This fan is going nuts.
Yeah, sometimes
it takes a beating on your computer, guys.
It does.
It really does. All right, so AJ, this is a good one. Let's jump up time frames. Again, much like AU, very, very bearish. I actually marked, I'm going to take you guys to this trend here. This weekly time frame, right? Huge weekly channel. Look at this. I've kind of just marked this just for visuals. You can see how steep this bearish trend is, how strong this bearish trend is, right? And we keep getting these little flags and then a push, flag, and then push. So that's what we've noticed on AJ is it likes doing these flags, right? Bearish flag, and then a large push to follow. So this has been looking pretty good so far. Again, higher time frame is primarily bearish, but we're going to drop down and see what we can find on lower time frame. So this 4-hour, just like AU, this 4-hour trend is bullish, and it's a healthy 4-hour trend. So it's not really showing like the bears are taking over at all. We're getting these pushes higher, breaks of resistance, test of support, large push, breakthrough resistance, test of support multiple times. And now we have a bit of a bullish flag. So we know that AJ likes to form these flags, right? We have a bullish flag forming here, and we have a lower time transition. Much like AU, these pairs are looking pretty similar this week. And we can see this lower time frame resistance level is broken. This blue line here, broken, tested a support. And now we're getting these, small lower time frame bullish confirmations. This is looking like a 4-hour engulfing right now. And so the favor for this, even though the higher time frames are bearish, this 4-hour trend is so strong. The bullish trend is so strong here on this 4-hour that I have no problem, confidence in taking this long trade into the weekly here. None at all. If we see those confirmations, I have no doubt that it'll continue higher up into this area, this 70 area. So again, this is the favoring trade, this long setup. Let's go ahead and mark it up, see what could potentially happen, right? About 170 pips, 180 pips to the 70 level. Oh, wait, hold on, I'll do it here. It's like 150 pips. And then we'll move our stop loss just outside support, kind of in this pattern here, because if it did break back into this pattern, then this trade would be invalid. So, good risk reward. We got a 325. Can't complain on that. I'll take that 10 out of 10 times, right? If we do see that confirmation, this could be a really good trade. But as always, you have to be ready for, both potential scenarios. And the bearish play out here would be, I want to see a break of this support, this minor support, and then also a break of this, this daily support, this zone here around 67,500. I want to see a clean break of that, and then a confirmed lower high after it retests. you know, then maybe a giant bearish engulfing or something, evening star, that would be enough confirmation for me that, you know, give me enough confidence to then short down to these lower levels here, potentially all the way down to the 64,750 area. Good amount of pips. Again, this is AJ. This thing moves the most. So almost 280 pips, you know, from zone to zone here. Definitely huge potential. And I'll give you guys a quick visual on what this short could look like, right? You want to protect your stop loss, move it outside of key resistance, this blue zone here, right? Outside of this lower high as well. So it's two levels of protection. And you could do a 70 pip, and then, you know, you'll have multiple TPs along the way, but the final TP would be somewhere near this 64,750 area, which again is a great risk to reward. We're seeing good volume here. So this would be a 3.5 risk to reward. Very good trade. Again, take that 10 out of 10 times. But again, the favoring trade here is definitely this bullish setup. So how can I get some basis concepting for free? Well, we have a free course. We'll cover that at the end. We'll mention it and show you how to get to it.
Mhm.
So again, this would two potential setups here, two great potential setups, both offering good risk reward. So whichever way this plays, you know, we're ready for it. You know, we're just going to wait for those confirmations. We're not going to force anything. We're seeing things pretty clearly right now. You know, good structure, good pattern formation, good trends. So, you know, we're just looking for right now, we're going to stick with that 4-hour trend, looking for this bullish setup. If not, no problem. You know, the bears take over, let's say here, then that means that higher time frame is coming into play, and those bears are going to start pushing price action lower. And we'll look to get in on this short opportunity. Whichever happens, we're ready for it. You know, and again, I posted this in here as well. All of them are here. Click this link right here. It'll take you to the trading view with a summary of everything I just said for this pair. So that's AJ. Let's keep going. We got Euro USD. This is a good one. It's kind of far away from a trade setup, but, you know, I'll show you guys what's happening. Huge bearish trend. Look how steep this is. You know, it's forming pretty good structure, but it is kind of choppy. You know, it's not the clearest channel I've ever seen. It's not the prettiest, especially over here when we get this little ripsaw action bull crap going on. Not really the prettiest again. So this is a weekly time frame, very, very bearish. Let's go ahead and drop time frames to see where a potential setup could take place. So with that overall sentiment in mind, we're going to favor a short opportunity here. But right now it's pretty risky. There's not really a high probability trade in here. Maybe on a lower time frame if you're scalping or something, but for my rule set, this isn't looking like anything I want to get in on just yet. I would ideally like to see a retrace to this structure level, you know, potentially see a double top formation and then large or strong bearish setups that we could then enter on. And then I would target down to this monthly. You know, it's very bearish. The likelihood of this pushing to this monthly is pretty high. And that's almost 400 pips from this structure level. All right, it probably is. Let me see. It is over 400 pips. From just about 400 pips. So huge potential play in this setup here. Again, just wait for this. Be patient. Wait for this retrace, you know. You want to see those setups. Because right now it's choppy, you know. It's like this giant ripsaw action. We don't really have anything clear-cut forming. So I just want to wait. I'm going to wait on this one. So what's the flip side to this trade, right? Let's say this bearish trend doesn't continue. You know, we start to see our first signs of a bullish trend out of this channel. So where would we go about entering on that? You know, outside of this structure level, outside of this resistance level, we want to get above this weekly, right? And enter on a confirmed higher low. It's that simple when, you know, considering, you know, what is it going to take for us to go long on a primarily bearish pair, right? We need something significant. We need a big event to take place. And that, in this scenario, would be a giant candle or a closure above the weekly, you know, a significant closure above the weekly, and then a confirmed, you know, higher low, so we can get in on this potential long setup. So I'm going to show you guys what this short setup would look like potentially, right? We'll protect ourselves outside this weekly. This actually might be a little closer to here. Again, this is a daily. I wouldn't enter on a daily. I'm just showing you guys a visual. I would always drop down, like let's say price action came up to this area, started, you know, showing some levels of resistance. Price was reacting at this resistance level. I would then drop to a 4-hour, 1 hour, and start looking for those lower time frame entries. So this is just for a visual purpose. So, you know, good risk reward. It's over 3.0. You know, we at least want to see 2-to-1. And this is definitely, you know, potential setup that we would be entering on probably later this week or early next week if this retrace does happen. So we'll see. It does look like it's going to pull back quite a bit. We got a little bit of a double bottom, plenty of exhaustion. So we'll see what happens. And this is Euro USD. Just a crazy pair right now. Trending like crazy. Pretty much high risk from where it's at right now. And again, here's the link. Check it out.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Euro USD. I'm going to move on to EJ for you guys. And then I got EJ and gold left. And I'm going to pass it off to Angelo for the rest of the pairs. So let's take a look at EJ. Again, very similar to EU. Super, super bearish on this weekly. However, EJ has more volume, right? This is a wider channel. You see these larger swings. We're breaking support, testing his resistance, huge swing to the downside, testing his resistance again, huge swing to the downside, and now we're at a key support level around 116. Let's go ahead and drop, see where we can potentially find an entry, right? So just like EU, right, we know that it's primarily bearish. So the favoring trade in this scenario would be a short setup. We're at the monthly. It's looking like it wants to close below. I'm not quite convinced yet. I do want to see a little bit of a push lower, then a significant retrace, right? And then we get in on these large bearish setups, a giant evening star, some engulfings, a good transition to the downside, maybe a moving average cross as well. More confirmations the better. And again, for the sake of a visual, I want to see, again, significant closure, retest, lower high, get a nice stop loss, probably around, this one's going to be pretty big, around 110. Then we're going to target all the way down to this 111,650 area. That's our next higher time frame support level, this weekly down here. So again, this is the daily. I'm not going to take a trade based on the daily, but just for visual purposes, this is the potential setup that we could see. It's a 3.6, almost 3.6 risk reward. And this is going to be a big, big move, especially with all this volume that EJ has been holding, right? But the likelihood of a retrace after it breaks is high, because we could see EJ loves to test multiple times after it breaks a level. So it breaks, tests, right? Multiple tests up here, 3 basically in the same area. Here again, it broke. It was a lower time transition. This bearish trend was coming back into play, and we get 1 test, 2, 3, 4 times, even after it came all the way down. So the likelihood of a retest of this monthly, if it is a confirmed break, is very, very high. So, we'll be looking to make this play to the downside. Again, we're trend traders. Our time frames are primarily bearish. So this is the favoring trade in this scenario. However, we always do mark both potential scenarios. Let's say EJ wants to come back and test this structure level again, right? We want to see a bounce from this level, a clean break through these MAs, and then we want to establish some sort of lower time frame structure just to give us a little more confidence. And then we could maybe, if we see the right confirmations, you could take a lower time frame counter trend trade up into this structure level. So I'm going to mark off this minor structure level here, 117. This is a lower time frame level, right? It doesn't really have much significance in the daily, but this is more of a 4-hour level. So if I did see this would be the first sign of a push higher or another test of this 118.5. Closure above. Lower time frame, higher low with bullish setups, and then you could potentially take this trade, on a 1-hour, 30-minute, and play it up until this level here. Right. So this is 2 scenarios, bullish trade and a bearish trade. I'm going to give you guys this long setup here. Let's see you get that confirmation. Boom, we're in. Protect yourself. 50 pip stop, not bad. Just about 130 pips for our TP, and it's a 2.5 risk to reward. Again, I'll take that 10 out of 10 times. Minimum, we want to see a 2-to-1 risk to reward. So here's just 2 setups here. Again, the favoring trade is always with the trend. This bearish trade here. But again, we're ready for either scenario. So that's your long setup and your bearish setup. And EJ, you can also find here in the analysis. Click this, takes you straight to trading view. Another question. Let's see real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, no problem. I have a question. In what time frame do you take the decision to enter? 30-minute, usually 30-minute. That's where I'll take a trade. I mean, I'll be close to I'll look at the 1 hour. I'll look at the 1 hour, look for those setups. I'll look for like minor structure levels on the 1 hour, but I'm usually taking a trade on the 30-minute or even less than times. Because the closer you can get to that conviction candle, that first candle that's going to start that push, that trade, is going to take place on a lower time frame. So and the reason we get to the lower time frame is because we've checked off all these higher time frames. So it's like we see that there's a setup on the 4 hour, right? That's check one. Now we can drop to the 1 hour and start looking for setups. Let's say we see a setup on the 1 hour. Good. That's another confirmation. Now we can drop to the 30-minute and start looking for those actual entries. So we don't just jump to the 30-minute and say, oh, this is engulfing, we're going to short. It's layers upon layers of confirmations that we've worked our way down to. So, again, we're still far away. I'm still sitting on the daily for this pair, just as an example. EJ, I'm still waiting for something. EJ has a lot to prove to me. And, I don't like what I'm seeing yet. So that's why I'm sitting on the daily for this one. Now, these other pairs that I just covered, like AJ, we're sitting on the 4 hour because it's already gone through those daily confirmations. I've already seen what I wanted to see on the daily. Now I'm ready to catch that next confirmation on the 4 hour, and then I'll drop to the 1 hour and then 30-minute as the trade develops. And that's actually how that's how we'll apply this channel here. So if you're a premium member, you already know this, but if you're in our signal group, we'll post our premium analysis here first. So these are trades that are getting ready, that have showed us quite a bit of confirmation already, but are still a couple confirmations on the 30-minute from execution. So they're close. They brought us all the way to that point, but we're still waiting for a couple more things before we enter. That's what these are here in the premium analysis. So we'll give you these charts that are potential trades, and then the ones that do go through that final level of confirmation on the 1 hour and 30-minute will turn into actual trades and premium signals, right? So that's just basically the logic behind it, how we're applying it. And we call it top-down analysis. We work our way down, and we're not really rushing anything. Hopefully that answered your question, JT. So I'm going to keep moving here. I got gold left for you guys. So let's get through this and see what's going on. So gold's pretty interesting. I actually took a long at the end of last week. This was just a personal trade. It was kind of high risk, but I had enough confidence in it. I took this little long opportunity here. It broke this lower time frame resistance level, tested for a 30-minute, and then I longed it into this area. It started to consolidate on Friday, so I got out. Right, that's just how I decided to manage it. I didn't feel like carrying it through the weekend. But just a quick analysis on gold. Primarily bullish, like crazy bullish, guys. Gold has just been hiking up to new levels. And we're still, this 1800 handle is still our prime target. So we're looking to get there. But, it showed us everything we need to on the daily. So to answer his question further, right, this was at next resistance level. It broke resistance, tested a support, gave us, a morning star opportunity here. You can see this is exhaustion, and there's this big-ass bullish candle. This is basically a morning star. That's enough confirmation for me to drop, or even after this exhaustion is enough for me to drop, right? It's finding exhaustion at a key monthly support level, which had just been broken and was just acting as resistance. So that's enough to drop to the 4 hour. So I'm going to start looking for more setups on the 4 hour. And then I saw this candle happen, right? So then I dropped. Then I saw this pullback. So this pullback here, right, retested and then engulfed. Then I got in and then rode it up into this level. So let's go back to the 4 hour because this is where this new analysis is at. So we know it's bullish, right? We're forming this ascending triangle. It looks to be an ascending triangle. I want to see it test this structure level a couple more times, this blue zone here. And then, maybe give us a nice bullish engulfing. Ideally, a break of this triangle would be really nice. So let me show you what that would look like. But guys, regardless, we're bullish. I'm not taking any shorts on gold right now. I'm looking for, long setups only. So let's go ahead and see. I want to see something like this. Significant closure above break of this triangle, followed by a retest with strong bullish setups. And then we're just going to long it into this 1800 level, which is a good confluence area. This negative 27 fib is there. It's a good projection for a TP, a take profit level, that is. And this is what I'm looking for. I'm going to look to enter on this. There's my long setup. Right, let's say you get a nice bullish engulfing here after it's a confirmed retest. Maybe some more exhaustion. And then you want to protect yourself. So I'm going to move my stop loss pretty much outside of this, out of this pattern here. Because if it does break through, this is an invalid pattern. I'm just going to write it off and, it's no problem. So I'm going to make this TP, make this TP up here around 1800. And this one's looking to be over 4.0, and that's even with protecting ourselves. You could even bring this thing lower. If 2.0 is all the way down here, and that's crazy. You don't even need to go that low. You could choose this level, this lower time frame support. You could choose that, or even just the pattern itself, right? Call it a nice 100 pips right there. Then it's a 5.7. So either way, this is going to be a great risk reward. If we do see this play out, there's no reason why you shouldn't take the trade, especially with a risk reward like that. So yeah, gold is definitely long, definitely long for those of you who are trading and analyzing it. But that's pretty much it. Again, guys, and I've been saying this a lot. They're all here. You guys need to
go to the
through
bathroom real quick.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just gonna wrap up what I'm saying. So you guys just need to get through this analysis, check these out, read what's written there. Maybe mark these up for yourself and then compare it to ours. Really, powerful stuff that you guys should be looking at. And it just summarizes everything that I just said about each individual pair. So just to recap, we covered DXY, right? The preferred move is, a fall out here. We want to see some bearish movement. AU, preferred move is bullish, right? That's our bias here, is bullish. Same with AJ. Our bias is bullish. Euro USD, our bias is bearish, but we're still on the daily. We have not yet seen the confirmations we want to see to then go to enter on this trade. So Euro USD is still bearish. EJ, preferred move, is bearish as well. Again, we're still on the daily. We still need a lot. This pair still needs to prove a lot to us for us to then enter. And then gold, preferred move is bullish, as it has been, and we're on the 4 hour. So that's what I got for you guys. That's what I prepared, and that's what this week is looking like. So we'll just wait for Angelo to get back, and then here he is, and then he'll get into his pairs for you guys.
All right, so I'm gonna share up here on my screen. Let's take a look. So obviously, just went over a lot with Nick. Let's see, where are my charts? All right, so obviously, just went over a lot with Nick. Definitely a lot of opportunities set up for this week. I'm gonna go over more of the major pairs here for everybody. Nick went over obviously a lot of exotic pairs, and these are going to be the pairs that I'm focusing on. So let's start off with GU, like always. Just looking for structure. For everybody, everyone should be trying to learn from us. Right now, if you're in this session, but yeah, for educational purposes, let's start off. On the weekly time frame, just take a look. Again, last week, just do some candlestick analysis. Got our weekly level or monthly level placed here. Closed below that with a lot of exhaustion. That's what led me last week to believe that we were going to head lower, and that's why we took positions. Daily time frame, coming into this week, what are we looking at? Two things. One, we're at a daily support level for sure right here, just based on this doji indecision around here. And then obviously very, very significant support level was made here. Last week closed with these 3 bullish candles, which were very weak. Obviously very weak last week. Let's continue to get down time frames. Overall daily bearish trend, daily bearish fib right now. Obviously hit this like 618 area, fell through. Now we're finding some support pulling back. I'm going to cycle all the way down to the 1 hour because I just want to focus in. I know exactly where we're at. We got this support level that realistically needs to break. We are bearish. We're below the moving averages. So let's just take a look at this 1 hour trend and see like what's going on here. 1 hour trend, made this low, lower high. Then we started retesting this low multiple times. Really started making lower lows. Like price did close actually lower here multiple times. And then we were just retesting this high multiple times before finally breaking lower. This is the move we call it. Finally breaking lower. Now, what are we looking at? We're definitely looking at some sort of flag, hit this low. Now we're just ranging, made 2 highs, made 2 low points. So I just drew out this flag. We're below this 4 hour level of key level, this level of support or resistance. Right now, obviously resistance. Also on the 1 hour, we can see why I drew this resistance here, support here, just dragged it across. So that is what we are respecting. That is what we are respecting right now. So pretty much what am I looking for on GU is I'm looking for a break below. I'm looking for a break below this trend line. I'm looking for a break below this channel that we're in. And I'm going to basically target this blue area. And I'm going to look to see how price reacts there to even head lower than that. last week I had drawn this flag a little bit differently actually. Before all of this happened, I had actually drawn this flag up here like this, and then I was looking at this as a break. But this looks a little bit better how I have drawn it now. So we're just gonna wait for some more confirmation here, guys. Obviously we're right in this zone right now, right in our red zone. See if we can respect that. If we do break these highs right here, like we may consider to bump up time frames and reevaluate. So I'm just gonna draw on. What am I looking for? I'm looking for one price to come out of this zone, head lower, or for a break, retest, head lower. And then again, this daily is really significant. What we're really looking to break on this daily is we're looking to see whether we can break this blue zone and ultimately head down to our weekly level down here. Let's just take this off. Or, our 38.2, before potentially bouncing back a little bit. So GU, at the moment, looking bearish. Again, on lower time frame. This is my watch list for everyone that, obviously comes on here. Watch list, orange ones are lower time frame that are high on my watch list. Red ones are higher time frame, 4 hour, that I'm still waiting for setups and stuff. So GU is higher on the watch list for today. Let's go to UCAD. Let's take a look, bump up to the daily. So last week we came back, just looking at the daily time frame, or let's start off on the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, we're in this zone, supply zone, huge resistance area, multiple bullish or bearish engulfings, or at least one bearish engulfing in this area, kind of telling me more sellers than buyers at the moment. Last week closed, a lot of exhaustion. Week before, a lot of exhaustion. Down to this daily time frame, and came back up. We formed this level of resistance, this lower high here. We came up to test that, obviously found resistance again off of that level. Closed with some exhaustion here, which is significant for me to note, which has got me thinking about what's the next move. But let's just come down, kind of do a time frame where we can see structure a little bit more clearly. Ultimately, we need to kind of break lower here. So let's look at, we'll go to the 4 hour first. So this is our 4 hour time frame. Obviously, 4 hour was slightly bullish, pulled up, made this high, then we broke lower, broke this very minor level. Ultimately, we really need to break this level to really go lower. So let me continue to go down to the 1 hour. 1 hour time frame is telling me obviously very bearish. So at the moment, broke these lows. Now we're in this flag. This is the pattern that I can recognize right now. So I'm just gonna be patient here. I'm gonna wait for a break below, much like this, retest of this 4 hour level of resistance, and then head lower. So UCAD, I am gonna sit on this lower time frame and kind of see how things play out. We could pop up back into this red zone right here. I'll drag this across. At that point, I'll update the analysis. So UCAD, definitely looking to see how this flag plays out earlier in the week, see if we could head lower. USEF is like a prime, is sort of at like a very good entry right now. I'm going to see how the market opens up though. I'm going to start all the way up on the weekly time frame. In this weekly supply zone, actually a weekly supply zone, but let's bump down to the daily. Weekly obviously is bearish, formed this low, retested below the moving averages. At the moment, we're fighting below the 200-day. Daily time frame, got my fib drawn on this time frame, low, came up to the supply zone, found a lot of sellers, found resistance, came back up in this supply zone, found resistance at 88.6. Now we just came up again, tested that 88.6, that previous lower high, and we found resistance again out of the supply zone. So could we head lower? We'll see. On this 4 hour, I have this rising wedge that was forming. So price was just getting squeezed to the upside. We hit our level of resistance, and this is also, if you've been following this with me, previously we had taken the short based on a break of this level right here, head lower. That was like telling me 4 hour trend had changed, and then we had this like retest here. Now at the moment, we just hit that level again, and we just got 2 bearish engulfings in a row on the 4-hour. So that tells me to bump down to the 30-minute, bump down to the 30-minute time frame, take a look at structure. 30-minute structure had been being maintained fairly well for a long time. Bullish. We had been bullish for a long time with this wedge. We were maintaining levels here. We were maintaining levels here. Then we were maintaining this level, right? Made a new high, maintained this level 3 times, made a new high. And this was a level of structure that broke on the 4-hour. That 4-hour, first 4-hour candle wasn't enough. It didn't really break anything for us on this 30-minute. But now that next 4-hour engulfing, that started to break something for me, to really get me to pay attention. So this pair, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for a pullback again, or an entry, right? I mean, depending how it opens up, honestly, but I'm looking for a pullback, like this, and then, continue to short this. But yeah, we'll see if it gaps or something on the open. I'm not going to just blindly take an order without seeing where it goes to, on the open. So USEF is high on the list right now, looking to short USEF. Let's go over to NU. NU, I'm on these higher time frames right now. Let's go to the weekly. So weekly time frame on NU. Last week closed. Obviously, a lot of rejection right here, off of this weekly support level. We're still below these moving averages, but look, 2 bullish engulfings in a row, kind of telling me more buyers than sellers are at the moment in the market. Daily time frame. This is where I have my like real fib drawn, high to low. We tested 618, broke lower, but didn't really make it too far. Came back up, actually broke this level of support or resistance. So we're slightly bullish on this daily time frame. And we got this bullish engulfing here, bullish, like sort of a morning star went down here, a lot of resistance though. So based on that, based on the daily being, in my opinion, bullish right now at this support level, let's continue to go down to the 4-hour and get an idea of like where could we potentially take advantage of this. And remember, so daily time frame broke bullish, weekly time frames bearish, monthly time frames bearish, right? 4-hour time frame right now is actually bearish. Made this lower high, keeps retesting this low, made another lower high here, or potential lower high. So what I'm looking for, varies quite simply, is this. I'm looking for a rejection of this level that just formed. Could we respect this lower high and this trend line and head lower into this zone again? Or could we break, considering how we feel on the daily, what we need to happen on to really take advantage would be a break of this trend line and resistance, retest, long. That's what we would need. What do I have here? So this is, this is just for prices right now. So that's what we would need: break, retest, entry. Then we could continue these longs, into the red zone. Then we need to break that to really head higher. So just 2 scenarios. I'm sitting on the 4-hour on this. I'll wait until I get a 4-hour engulfing or something in this area, and then I'll look. Nothing too crazy on this. So that's my idea with NU. And like Nick was saying, obviously, all of these are posted in here. You guys can look back at what's going on. Let's go to UJ. UJ has been fucking around for a minute in here. It's actually really annoying, but let's take note as to the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame closed with this evening star, but a lot of exhaustion. Last week consolidated a ton. Let's look at that consolidation. I know I've got a couple zones marked here. I'll go over them in a second. But overall, this is my fib. Every time I get in the daily, I'm kind of doing this. So you guys realize, at least at the moment, this is where I'm seeing structure the clearest, is low, supply zone up here, retested that supply zone, 100% level or 88.6 level, came back down, minor pullback here, found rejection. You know what I'm saying? Found some rejection. So really created another level of resistance here, another level of structure that we're looking at. Now we're retesting this support level that I had drawn. Support here, resistance here. So definitely a serious level that we're at. Let's continue to go down to the 4-hour. So this 4-hour time frame, if we look at it from this way, we can see form this high, form this low, hiked all the way up. So this is, slightly bullish right now. Hiked all the way up, broke lower. This was a nice lower or higher low that had formed right here, broke through the moving averages, boom. So ultimately, this level is really what needs to break for us. Obviously it was retested again, found support. Now we're just fucking around in this zone that I had drawn, boom, 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 so many times that we're messing around in this zone. So I'm going to wait. We need to break lower out of this zone before I really take anything. Buys, I need to break higher. For you intraday and scalp traders, look at how it's been going in the zone. Sell at the highs, buy at the lows. That's the name of the game here. But I'm not really doing that. It's not my game. I'm just going to wait for the break, head lower. So UJ potentially head lower. Like Nick was saying, you were saying with what, DXY potentially bearish this week?
Yeah, but that's the favoring move. Anything higher than that is not really, in anyone else's best interest from a global standpoint.
Yeah, and basically every single pair that I went over sort of backs that. NZ really daily time frame bullish, looking long. UJ looking short. So obviously JPY stronger than USD. UCAD looking short. USEF looking short. GU is the only kind of outlier here. Is I am looking for this to continue lower, but at the same time, that's just an idea, guys. This could continue to pop up. This has been making these higher lows. So we'll see. We'll see. That's just an idea. So let's go over to GJ. GJ is an interesting one. Let's go all the way up to the daily. Weekly has been bearish. I don't even need to reiterate that. Daily time frame, mark this, created this low, hit 50% level, in confluence with our weekly resistance level, and then we just hit like a bunch of daily bearish candles in a row. Now where are we at? We're at a daily level of support right now, but we can go down to lower time frames at the moment and take a look. Down to the 4-hour is what I'm really looking at to continue this overall time frame bearish push is break of this level support. You know what I'm saying? Last week, what were we looking for? We were looking for a retest of this zone, this red zone. Why? 61.8 resistance. Got some wicks in there. Now what's going on? Multiple bearish engulfings. Bearish variation, bearish engulfing here. Setups. Setups in our zone, and also this daily support level. We really need a break lower there. So I'm gonna go down to even a lower time frame. I'm gonna go down to the 30-minute because I was looking at those 4-hour engulfings. Look at the 30-minute. Draw this little trend line. Don't use them too much, but little trend line. Make this lower high here. Keep retesting this low. If we can make another lower high here, I am going to try to take advantage. Overall, this was our idea. Hit this red zone, go lower. Still being backed right now. So if we can respect this zone, we are going to go lower. So again, that was all the analysis. All of it is posted in here. Sunday Market Blitz. We just went over a lot. We just went over a ton for you guys, which is definitely a lot to handle. But this week there are some good opportunities. There are some good opportunities for everybody to take advantage of. We are going to. What I like to do is I like to see how the market opens, and then normally I'll wait kind of to trade till Monday. That's kind of just what I do. But I do have that one. I do have that one setup that I'm very optimistic about that I might just take an entry on based on like the first 2 hours, how they close or whatever. So yeah, we'll see about that. Again, we appreciate you guys staying in here for the duration of the call. Obviously, it was a very long session. This is recorded, will be uploaded to YouTube for you guys to rewatch. One more time, we have our 10 spots going on right now. There are currently 2 spots left in the program. We open this up, every now and then, 40% off. If you guys are interested in that, just shoot us a message. Obviously, on Instagram or Discord, and we'll talk to you guys more about what's going on in there. And yeah, we're just looking to finish this month strong. You know what I'm saying? Finish this
Absolutely.
month strong. Last week for the signals, last week to wrap up the month. Trying to get that out there. And one more time for everyone that participated in the giveaway, thank you so much. And the $100 got sent out. So yeah, we're gonna upload this. We're gonna end this call, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend while it lasts, and get ready for this week. It's about to be serious. So hopefully we'll see you guys in the community. Most of you.
Oh yeah, peace out.